Good morning, everybody. Dandavats. Welcome to the Bhakti Yoga Institute. We're very happy that you're all able to join us here today, and we're very honored we have Srila Bhakti-Vedanta Madhusudan Maharaj leading us. And we just wanted to highlight, like as Maharaj was saying, that we have these really wonderful notes that Subhasini Didi has put together, and it's a short class, so we don't have time to read through all the notes. We want to take advantage of the time and actually discuss the verses, and Maharaj is drawing in from all sorts of different readings and remembrances of Srila Gurudev, Srila Guru Maharaj. So these notes have been extracted from Srila Sridhar Maharaj's illuminations on Sri Upadesamrta, and they're designed to supplement what we're doing in the lessons. So we just wanted to really encourage everyone to go through carefully, because you'll see there's actually word for word translations, which if we can put those into our minds, it helps us then to remember the meaning of the verse. And then at the end of the notes, you'll see there are a list of questions at the end. And they're not difficult. They're designed to help us to reflect on what we've heard in the class and what we've read, because we're trying with this format to help each other in the way that we come together and listen, so that it's not so passive, that we're more engaged and we're getting more in the habit of taking notes, trying to remember what was said, catch the main points, and be able to write them down in our own words. So we're not going to be checking absolutely every question, but we really do encourage that you go through after the class and one by one try to answer them. And then if you have any questions, to please raise them, Maharaj, in the class. So we just wanted to quickly ask if there's any questions that came up from the lesson yesterday that you would like to bring up, or from the questions in the homework. So if you can raise your hand or type it in the chat.
Who's seeing the screen?
She's Pandita, you are? We all are, yeah.
Otherwise, we need to do a spot check and ask. So does anyone want to offer an answer to number one? What are the urges to be controlled from the verse yesterday? But not Maharaj yet. Oh. Anyone want to put up their hand? Yeah, Ishwananda.
We have one here. Ishwarananda Prabhu, serving in the London Mass from Salt Lake City.
Jai. Serving wonderful.
You have to
It
speak
may
loud.
not be in order. The tongue, the mind,
Not exactly the tongue. Oh, here's the examiner, not me.
the mouth. Okay, speech. Getting whispered the answer. Speech, the mind, anger, the tongue, the belly, and the genitals.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, marvelous. Okay. And then from someone in the class, how can we enjoy? My goodness. How can we control these urges?
You see any response?
I know Krishna wants to answer, but she's a translator, so she's absolved. We know you know the answer. Hare Krishna.
Utilize in the service from Shama Priya.
Okay, Shama Priya.
What was it?
Utilize our senses.
Utilize it in the service.
Yeah.
Yes. Brilliant.
Higher taste. Higher taste.
And did anyone, 10 points, if anyone can recite verse 1?
Ooh. We can recite it in English.
Someone.
Anybody? Oh, yes, there's chat here. No? Who's got the finger on the chat? Yourself?
I do. Okay. Harigopal Prabhu says, I did not know the answer to the fifth question. I think there was a slide from yesterday's presentation on the screen.
What is
I
it?
do not remember them.
Oh. Okay, so Hari Gopal wasn't sure of the answer for number 5. What did Guru Maharaj say about Sri Upadeśāmṛta for our practicing life?
Uh-huh.
So, when we go back through the notes, and I didn't want to take too much time with this, but
In one word?
well, it's essential.
Okay, that was the word I was thinking.
So, I mean, these aren't supposed to be tricky. It's more just to reinforce so that we're not just listening and feeling like this is so wonderful. It was such a beautiful class. But what did Maharaj say? What does Upadeśāmṛta say? What did Guru Maharaj say about this? Why is it important? Who wrote it? So that's the reason why we want to do the homework. And then if we're not sure, we ask. So now maybe we can start with verse number 2.
Okay, so just very beginning, one verse, we'll chant one verse, Vandeham, because I understand it's a short hour when we're trying to discuss these topics. So the one verse, Vandeham, and if you, as your homework, look at every word there and see what is being said, and you will see that everything is included in this Vandeham. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Upadeśāmṛta Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Upadeśāmṛta Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vitam. And yes, I know we automatically want to give our obeisances specifically to Gurudev, to Guru Maharaj, to Srila Prabhupada, to Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, our whole Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. And it is their treasure. They are giving us this from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But let us, today we'll repeat just the first 3 verses so we don't take a long time, but a little bit of repetition of the Sanskrit. The Upadeśāmṛta verses are more or less in groups of 3. And so the first 3 are the urges to control. Then the next verse is what will be bad for us, what will destroy our devotional service. And the third verse, what will be good for us, which will assure the success of our devotional service. So
Sorry, no sound.
We don't have a sound.
It's muted.
do from here.
Sorry, now.
Okay, so we just do the first.
Okay, but I can't see. Have you got a thumbs up? Do you have sound now?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, got a thumbs up. All right. So once more, no harm in repetition. Verse 1, slowly together. Vacho vegam, anasa oda vegam, jiva vegam, udaro pashka vegam, etan vegam yo vishaheta dhiraha, sarvam apima kritivim sa shishyat. Now you know that verse now from yesterday's meanings, but we can just give that meaning while we're going through. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the urges of the mind and anger, the urge of the tongue, the belly, and the genitals. A perseverant person Okay, perseverant person who can control all these urges can instruct the entire world. So this is our basis for being a civilized human being, if you like. So this is, we discussed yesterday, then verse number 2 will build upon verse number 1. And verse number 2 in Sanskrit, we say slowly together, atyāhāraḥ, prayāsaś prajalpo niyamāgrahaḥ, jana-saṅgaś laulyañ ṣaḍbhir bhaktir vinaśyati. And then we'll come to that meaning shortly. We read verse 1 meaning because we read that yesterday, so it helps us to remind us what we're saying. And then verse 3, which will be tomorrow's verse, but they're all linked together. These are the things which will assure success. Slowly together. Utsahan nishchayat dhairyat tat karma pravartanat sanga tyagat shato vritehe ṣaḍbhir bhakti prasidyati. So all positive and progressive. So we're coming to verse number 2, and we do ask that you can do some homework, as Kalikadamba pointed out, that if we do some homework after the class sometime, then it helps to reinforce things in us about what we've heard. And we have this big book. Oh, dear, my legs, sorry. We have this big book to help you, and lots of references from Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, and Srila Prabhupada about Upadeśāmṛta and its teachings. But when I was doing homework for this verse in advance, then I came across an ocean of guidance about this, including an article by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is 98 pages long, actually printed pages, 98 pages long on only the second verse. So, we mentioned yesterday, we are hopefully giving a bit of an aperitif, something to help us to look into the different aspects of these verses later on. But it is 6 essential principles. Yesterday we had 6 urges to control, and now we've got 6 principles to avoid, things to avoid. And then when we know what we need to control of our senses and what to avoid, then we're going to start to be able to build on what is good to do, what will make our life successful. So Srila Rupa Goswami, the dear, very grave, serious head of our sampradaya, for our benefit is giving us our step-by-step necessity to understand. So yesterday, 6 senses to control. Now, the translation here is giving Bhakti is destroyed, and it's got this word vinaśyati, which means like destroy. And we love the word when it's referring to Nrsimhadev. We think, oh, all of our offenses will be destroyed. But our devotional life will be destroyed, vinaśyati, if we engage in these following 6 items. So obviously, we want to avoid them. It's like, okay, self-explanatory. Okay, so Bhakti is destroyed, or maybe I have it written here, because actually there are different translations. And maybe I have it in my folder. Oh, no. Okay, I'll look at the screen. Bhakti is destroyed by these 6 faults: over-accumulation, over-endeavour, unnecessary talk, and misapplication of rules, association with non-devotees, and fickleness. There we are. And in Srila Prabhupada's translation, which he gave in the book Nectar of Instruction, he's given similar, I mean, of course it's similar, but slightly different wording. And some of us were brought up on this wording, and that is, one's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities: eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than necessary, this over-accumulation. Over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. But maybe simply we had over-endeavoring earlier for mundane things. Number 3, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. Prajalpo, talking anything and everything. Number 4, practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them, and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. So that's a bit of a longer purport included within the translation kind of explanation here, as Srila Prabhupada often did. And then number 5, associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. And number 6, again, just 6 items, being greedy for mundane achievements. So sometimes we try to make things easier to remember, because we should try to remember. And I think the question at the end come down for homework is to learn what are the 6 faults. So we've got 6 faults listed with this wording, and 6 faults listed with a more literal, just what is in the Sanskrit given in the first translation there. And so we can gently go through these, and you can see in the word by word how it's the words are broken up and divided, and how in Sanskrit and in Bengali words join together and then give, like atyāhāraḥ becomes atyāhāraḥ this way. Overeating or too much collecting. And this is extensively discussed. And really, Subhasini's done a great job, by the way, a great saver, by collecting together the excerpts from Srila Guru Maharaj, where Guru Maharaj is explained in a short way each of these verses. I said before we started today, well, reading this, you don't need me.
Yes.
it's all written here. But the point behind this, and as I say, Bhaktivinoda gave 98 pages of explanation about this one verse of Upadeśāmṛta. And in this book, we have, well, many pages, but it's 1 kilo. We have 1 kilo of explanation of the 11 verses. So just to point out, there's so much to be said. But taking more than we need, then it is not necessary to just eat and eat. We mentioned this yesterday about the belly, but this idea is not just referring to food, that I'm taking more than we need, but it's referring to everything in this world. You know, what do we need? We'll be satisfied with that, and not try to get bigger and better and bigger and better, and follow the rat race is what they say. Follow this idea that everything in our life is going to be measured by the bigger car, the bigger house, the bigger this, the bigger that, because it is all unnecessary. And what we need to live on, this should be sufficient for us. And that may be a different standard for different people. Certainly is different for a villager in Navadip than it is for somebody in New York City or London or Sao Paulo and many of the Rome, other places where you are. I mean, there's a different requirement for one's need, but we should consider about everything we do, that it's been given to us by Krishna And do we need it or not? Because if we take more than we require, then that is reactionary. So we have our food, clothing, house, reasonable. But anything more than that is coming into the plane of exploitation. And the example of food is, quite a big example. That is that all the animals, the birds, they also eat, but they go and they take whatever they need for today, they eat, and then that's it. They don't go collecting so much more and start a market down the road to sell that extra food, like making a business out of food, storing for the next day. In fact, every day that the bird wakes up, we don't know what goes on in the mind of the bird, but the Lord is giving him his food. So for ourselves, if we start to take more than we need, then that becomes greed. We're taking unnecessarily from the environment, and that must be repaid. And we accumulate sufficiently for our need, for our living, but our living will be Krishna conscious living. So we get some facility, something is coming to us. It is used for Krishna. And so that way, we are not possessing things. We're not saying, hey, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. This Krishna is giving to us, whether we're a householder, whether we're in the temple, whatever the Lord is giving, then we're using in his service and not keeping for myself. And keeping extra and extra for oneself, it also has that indication that we don't have faith in the Lord. I'm trying to secure my future by putting some more zeros on the end of the bank account, etc. And then in the material world, then in many people, we know one elderly man I asked, not here, and actually nobody online knows him, so nobody can understand who it is. But there's one, really quite wealthy man, but he was aged, and we just said to him, why are you working so hard just to put more zeros on the end of your bank account? He said, oh, it's for my son and for my next generation. But the son, who knows what he's going to do with all those zeros? And by the law of karma, when you take something extra, then it has to be repaid. Oh, anyway, we've got to keep on moving. So it's overeating, it's over-accumulating. So over-accumulating is the first. And then the second is over-endeavoring. So human life, we see, we don't have to spend 24 hours or however many hours we are awake for everybody to grow food. So our life can be, so some of our life is for growing food. That is there, not for making all sorts of machines, but that extra time, this is for Krishna consciousness. And so our life is meant to be balanced. And that if we are over-endeavoring, we all have to do something, but if we're just trying to get the bigger car, the bigger house and everything, we already have a car, we already have a house. As I said to one of our devotees recently, in Europe, the poorest person has a car. They may complain that it's an old car, but if they got a car, they get around in the car. And in America also, the poorest person has a car. And so if you have a car, that's fine. And it's also fine if your car is not an old car, if it's coming readily, if Krishna is giving that, and use it for Krishna. But just to simply always get, to work hard to get a bigger car to impress the neighbors who don't really care anyway, then it's kind of a futile waste of energy, because the human life, our energy is to be focused on Krishna consciousness. So not to over-endeavor for material things, and as Srila Prabhupada in his translation saying, that are difficult to obtain. So not to over-endeavor. And then the third one is, prajalpo, not to talk about all kinds of discussions. this we touched on yesterday, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave extensive description about our talking tendency. Yesterday, we also touched about how we just feel like we need to talk, say something about something all the time. You get 6 people around a table, and somehow or another, there's some compulsion to talk about, you know, what they did this, and I heard this, that, you know, like all sorts of stories, like this Gramya Katha. But we need to control what we speak and our thinking even, so we don't even want to talk about this or that or the other. And some thought comes in our mind. Sometimes we think, oh, I can join this conversation. We know we have this experience, that experience. But if it's not for Krishna consciousness, it's not, we shouldn't be doing, but we shouldn't even think about it if it's not for Krishna consciousness. So this speech matter, talking, we want to only keep our talks to Krishna consciousness talks. So again, we're getting this foundation of our devotional life for later. So you can say even this is stressing what Rupa Goswami gave in his first verse, which is to control speech. So we'll only talk, but we'll talk about Krishna. So this isn't denying everything. It is utilizing material things for Krishna, utilizing only what we need for ourselves, Krishna is giving the food to the bird, he's giving the food to you. But to you, you are giving that food back to Krishna as an offering and then taking it. The items that come to you, the roof over your head, I sometimes wonder where the birds have a roof over their head when it's raining, but they're giving shelter for the bird. But the shelter we get, we'll appreciate it's coming from Krishna. Everything has to be Krishna-centered. So then the 1, 2, and 3, to over-accumulate, to over-endeavour, and to speak unnecessarily and about mundane things. And then number 4 has 2 sides to it, and I think in the word by word, it's got the explanation here too, that to make much of following the rituals that are given in the Vedas, but missing the point that all of this is for waking up love of God. It's not a ritual, it's something which must be done by heart, our worship of the deity, or everything, bathing in the morning, chanting our japa, offering our food. But in all of these departments, if you read, no need to actually read it. If you read one book called, you'll find that there are, not unlimited, but extremely long descriptions about all sorts of formalities of even every time you meet your spiritual master, you have to do this. And Srila Gurudev, one day in our temple in Dum Park, he's sitting and he reading from this Hari Bhakti Vilas. Oh, said the name now. This book, Hari Bhakti Vilas. But he's reading what the student, a disciple must do every time he comes in front of the spiritual master. So many times obeisances this way, this, and then that way, then these mantras, and then touching water, and then offering whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but Gurudev was reading this to us. And it's just, you could say casually, but whatever Gurudev did, even casually, was educational. And Gurudev is reading this to us. And then reading this to us, and then he said, but what about if I just want a cup of hot water? Affectionately, Gurudev would call his personal servitor Koka. It's an affectionate, sweet name. And he called just Koka, garam jal chai. I just want some hot water. But he said, then the disciple will come, do all of these rituals and everything else. And then by that time, my tickle in my throat is gone and everything else is gone. So, the practicality of formalities is to develop our devotional mood, our surrendered mood, to be ready for anything. So And another side of this, of course, is in the routine, in the deity worship and in other worship, there are mantras and there are formalities, but we must try to know what we're saying, first of all, and not just repeat like a parrot. And knowing what you're saying will help that faith in the deity, help the faith in the guru. It will be all helpful in our devotional life. But again, there are so many formalities, and if in some temples, especially of Lord Vishnu, of Narayan, we have seen quite elaborate this, that, and the other, and mantras and drawing yantras or designs on the ground in some particular way in a certain direction. So there are many things which are given in different places in the scripture, but we've got our middle path. That is, we've got Guru Maharaj, we've got Gurudev, we've got Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. They have given us the practical standard of worship for today. And you see, the other side of being too attentive to what is written there in the Veda is that we are too neglectful of the rules and regulations. There are rules and regulations. So where does the balance lie? Oh, I can't follow all this. I won't do any of this. I just come and put the food on the altar and say, Krishna, eat up, and then leave the altar room. Like that's being too neglectful of the rules and regulations in this example of the worship of the deity. So what is the middle path? That is what has been given by Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, what's been given by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And so our devotional life, we will follow that happily, and happily knowing it is their instruction and their guidance. And so others from other places may say, oh, but you have to do this, that. Okay, you have to do that, because that's your understanding. But we've got a master, and they've given us the practical method of following the scripture appropriately for this age. So time, place, and circumstance. And then the fifth is coming back to this point of associating with worldly minded people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. And association is our best friend when it is with devotees, with those who are like-minded, those who have got the same ideal, the same ideal, the goal, the same path, the faith in that same path, and preferably those who are senior to us, who've got some experience along the way to help us on the way. If we can associate with that kind of person, and that they are not only senior to us, but they are well disposed, friendly to us, they want to help us, then we will be in very good association. And we are getting association through the instruction of Rupa Goswami. Today we cannot go to see Rupa Goswami as such, like go to his door and ask him. That's called vapu, the physical association, the direct association. But we have association through vani, through the instruction. And this is absolutely applicable for our generation, means the Western world, where Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Gurudev have come and given in person to so many, but they've given in teachings their instruction and the way to associate with them. So we want to associate with the devotees and not with the non-devotees. If you associate with devotees, you get the good qualities of the devotee. If you associate with the materialists and those who are eager in other departments, you will get those qualities. If you were time with somebody who's like the businessman and they're saying, oh, I did a good deal today, I got these things for 10 euros and I sold them for 1,000 euros. And then you see their enthusiasm for business and then you think, oh, I can do that too. And I know somebody who would not buy, he was a businessman, and none of you know him, don't start thinking who it is, but he wouldn't do any business with something he could not get 100 times his return. I mean, really, And then I know what business he was doing. But then by associating with somebody like that, that's a good idea. And then you see, where his life is going from rags to riches. And of course, that's there's some famous story about the poor to the Cinderella, wasn't it? Cinderella was had no money or something, and then suddenly she's married to a prince or something. Everyone likes that kind of a story. And if you mix with that association, you'll also be thinking about the material things. So to leave non-devotional association, because non-devotional anything is drawing us away from Krishna consciousness, and the association of the non-devotees, it will rub off onto us. We are lagu, we are light. So we take on the color, we take direction in which the association we are in is going. And then the last one is this laulyañ, being greedy. Being greedy, you may not have something which is, out of your reach, but you have that hankering. Oh, I wish I was that person. I wish I had that. I wish I had that. Out of your reach, you're not actually over-endeavoring for it, but you're looking at that and thinking, oh, so wonderful. Like being greedy in that, what did Srila Prabhupada? Oh, being greedy for mundane achievements. Oh, that's what I'm reading. Okay. Hare Krishna.
We have a question.
We have a question. Okay.
From Lavanya Mai, Riga. Does the principle of not exerting excessive effort apply only to material activities, or does it also extend to spiritual life and service?
You should use all your energy and exert yourself fully to follow instruction of Guru and Gauranga. So this is about being greedy for over-exerting for mundane things. We accept our lot. We accept, if I'm a rich person, it's coming easily, okay, that's coming to me, but still must use in remembrance and for service of Krishna. If I'm a poor person, okay, that's coming to me. But we shouldn't try to over-endeavor for the mundane things. But for spiritual things, we will give our everything to fulfill the order, the wish, the desire of our master. So this over-endeavoring is for mundane things in this way. Hare Krishna. And I can just add a little bit after having done a little reading and associated reading. Why associated reading? Because when we start to look into a subject or a topic that's given to us, we end up kind of following this thought and reading lots of wonderful things. And about verse 1 and verse 2 of Upadeśāmṛta, these two verses are the prohibitions. Like, this is what we must not do. But this is not necessarily, this is not spiritual. This is also pointed out. And I'm not sure if this is pointed out in the course notes that we have here. But the verses 1 and 2, they're telling us our urges, that we have some duty to control. We're being told what you should not do, so don't do it. It's not directly spiritual activity, but it is activity in sharanagati, surrender. It's an indication of our surrender. We are being told that in order to have devotional life, this is your foundation behavior. So surrender means I'm doing what is being guided from above. I'm surrendering to the advice of the wise who know what is what. And so to control our 6 urges is some surrender. It's an indication of our surrender and willingness to to be prepared to do the positive things. While we're in the mud, then very difficult to go, be in the, not mud. We're just plodding around in the mud, basically. We've got to get out of the mud and then start our upward journey. And then this second verse is 6 items that will destroy devotional service. So we don't do these because whatever devotional service we're going to be advised about, then we'll be trying to go in the journey. But if we don't have this guideline, we'll be going one step forward and then, it's all destroyed again. So we need a foundation. And yesterday, actually, we were just discussing about when you drive a car, the driving instructor, first, before he gives you the keys and gives you the steering wheel, the accelerator, etc., he's going to tell you some basic rules of the road. Drive on the left, or at least drive on the right side, whether it's right or left, because many people are on the right. Which side of the road to drive on. That you stop at that red light and you go at the green light. I mean, there are some basic things you don't, and you don't just go as fast as you like, because it's a clear road, but it's a built-up area. You don't go 150 kilometers an hour. You go at 30 or whatever the speed limit is. You may have your wish to do many things because you've got your car and you're going to go. And you're a new driver, and of course, a new driver knows everything about how to control the car. They think they know everything. But the point is that anything you do in the beginning, you're going to be told, like, you must behave in this way. So then when the new student has got the basic idea, and the brake is the one in the middle, the accelerator is the one on the right-hand side, the steering wheel, okay, the basics, then you can start your journey. But with no idea, and then you just go out of the door, then you won't get very far on your journey. You're not going to be successful. So everywhere there's some guidance at the beginning. So this is the rules of the road, and now we'll go on the journey. And so these first 2 verses are giving us the senses to control and what will destroy our devotional service. So we're not staying in that zone forever, like don't do this and don't do this. We are now going to come tomorrow to the 6 items, again, 6 items which will ensure the success of our devotional service. So I've just condensed 98 pages, back to a few minutes, plus Srila Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion, plus Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's comments here in Sri Upadesamrta. But these are very important. And when Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving 98 pages on this one verse, then you can understand we need to have the proper basis for our devotional life and not be whimsical. And although, as you see, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, all these things will destroy your service, it's not yet given us our a journey, but it's getting us ready to drive our car on that journey. And we must be ready first. And this is why these first 3 verses, which are giving us 6 senses to control, 6 things not to do, and then we're going to get the 6 things to do, and then from there on, we've got the foundation to go forward. So in brief, this is our covering of this. And Kelly's got the file, and she's got the notes, and she's got some homework arranged by Subhasini, correct?
Well, there was a little bit of a teamwork on the questions, the homework questions.
Okay, teamwork on the homework questions for going homeward.
There's one more question, because I think we have a little time. How do we develop relationships and inspire people on the path of bhakti if they have no devotional background? So it means in the beginning they're not, they have no faith, they have no interest, but maybe you see some potential is there, and then how do we consider that?
Well, for many of us, I can see you in front of us here too. Many of us, we are from that world where we didn't have any devotional background or anything really at all. And then from nowhere, we came to have some faith, but we just kind of had a bit of a wake up by the very straightforward, honest, sensible Hari Katha, means topics about the Lord, by those who know the Lord. And that came in our generation, our time from Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So we can refer to the books of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, and Srila Guru Maharaj, and with some saying, well, because they're seeing that you're wearing tilak, why are you doing this? Okay, well, read this. You also see what these people have to say. That's really interesting. And, depending on the person, if they're a relative or something, which often is the case, the mother, father, husband, wife, brothers, sisters, some of them kind of, oh, yes, what you're doing is good, and others may not appreciate so much. But try to get them to hear the words in the written form of Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, and Srila Prabhupada. But select what you give them. Mm-hmm. Every chapter is not suitable for the first time reading. And hence from Srila Gurudev, you have that beautiful sweet book, In Search of the Original Source. Small booklet, but a very kind of, you say, almost foolproof introduction to Krishna consciousness. Now, we don't want to say if somebody reads that and they don't become Krishna conscious, they're a fool. But maybe Srila Prabhupada would, because he's like fools and rascals. They don't appreciate Krishna consciousness. But Srila Gurudev makes things very clear there. So there we've got from Srila Gurudev, we've got from Srila Guru Maharaj, home comfort, we've got inner fulfillment. And the beginning part, the introduction to, and chapter 1 of Search for Sri Krishna, Reality of the Beautiful. Those references, and from Srila Prabhupada, Science of Self-Realization, you can say. And the Bhagavad Gita as it is with the commentaries. And then anyone reads these with an open heart, we would really hope that they will get some faith that there aren't those who know the reality of reality, and not just all sorts of speculation and trying to get name and fame and be an author of a book so they can sell it. And, there are all sorts of motives by spiritual persons. And we've met spiritual persons who are authors and really been a bit shocked. Think, well, they're an author of a spiritual book, but yet we can't have a sensible conversation. So we want to try to introduce people to substantial writings, substantial talks, not just any book, not any Bhagavad Gita, not any book on spirituality. Mm. So that's one thing. And another thing, it really does depend on a case-by-case basis, but you do want to give faith and then tell them about Krishna consciousness. And if you do give them something from Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, and Srila Prabhupada, please do give something which is going to give the foundation as we are doing.
And I received this excellent guidance from someone that in this point that associating, we can give association rather than, because if, let's say we're going into an environment, we're trying to share some Krishna consciousness, we don't have to, we can think we're not taking their association.
Absolutely, yes. And then what is associating with the materialists And that also has got its gradation and definition. And to give your association, that is one thing. This is the preaching side. This is what Mahaprabhu wants. But to be in the social club of this, that, and the other, the politics is a classic example. You know, to go to be in a political club where it's got nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. The world is going to go on the way it's going to go on. There are so many who are trying to do altruistic things, but that's the result. The imbalances are the result of not having Krishna at the center. With Krishna at the center, you will have utopia, actually, by whatever name you want to call it, because consciousness is meant to be joyful. Consciousness is, food of consciousness is happiness and joy. And all the isms in the world for trying to solve this, that, and the other, is like putting a plaster over something which is just a symptom, but not the cause. So we want to come to the cause and solve that.
Can someone open the door? Got a visitor knocking on the window.
Okay.
Shall we ask if there are any questions from anybody? Don't be shy.
And also, while you're thinking of, you don't have to think of a question. If you have a question, you have a question. But another thing about reaching to other people, what inspires you, you can naturally share that with others. We're not just to repeat something. You know, okay, I heard this sentence. But if something is giving you inspiration, you can say the same sentence, but again, with your own heart. Actually, Krishna consciousness, Gurudev saying so many times, it's always heart-to-heart transaction. And to know anything, we're trying to learn something, so we can wake up our heart. So it can be a free transaction of loving hearts without duplicity and with all good wishes for each other, mutual help instead of mutual competition with each other. And when you get mutual help, everything thrives. And when that mutual help is for the source of all the ism problems in the material world, when that mutual help is to come to that original source in search of the original source of Srila Gurudev, then very quickly we're going to, Krishna will give us good association, good opportunity. And in this short life, if we use this one life to try to keep that focus, then we are promised we are going to have a wonderful future. Most people have no idea where they go when they die. And so many, I'm going to die, and then I just go to heaven, while eating the beef and having a beer, smoking a cigarette. But, they're going to get a little wake-up call. And others also, say, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in life after death. Well, maybe you don't, but you might get a surprise. And if you can think, when you get a surprise, think of God, then that may help you.
Dana was just saying on the chat.
Dana? Oh, Dana. Hare Krishna, Dana.
She was saying homework is hard work. Heart as hard work.
Homework is hard work. For this kind of thing, really, really it is. And this Upadesamrta is so much stressed by each of our pure divine masters who come from that world. And it's Rupa Goswami, the head of our sampradaya, has given us this directive. Yes, question here.
Maharaj, as a mother, whatever I think, I even prayed God. I only prayed through my son every time before. So I learned so many detached from for that materialistic, even that son, husband. But as a mother, I couldn't even, every time I pray God with Krishna and everything, first, every time my son come for me, because for my son healthy and everything, I pray for everything for my son. I didn't even detach from my son. I couldn't see Krishna straightly. Every time my son in medal, through my son only, I could see and pray and everything. As a mother, how can I detach from this kind of feeling?
Could we just recap the question in case?
Okay, I'll recap the question that as a mother, as a parent, but as a mother here, how to be detached from our young child, 3 years old, your son,
He's 5.
5 years old, okay, young son, and thinking very much of him, but you want to be detached because we are hearing we should be detached from this material world. But you are a mother, you're meant to have a heart for your son. And actually, Krishna consciousness is heart. Everything is hearty, as we said just now. It's all a transaction of the heart. But you must learn and try to see that your son, he's actually Krishna's, not yours, but he's been put in your care. And this is one point about accumulating things or having things, which we shouldn't feel guilty we have something. We must see that it is Krishna's, not mine, but in my care. So you have your duty to your son. And how will you teach your son anything? Only by love. This is from our Gurudev. Gurudev saying that. How will you teach your children anything? Because sometimes children can be, they've been known to be naughty from time to time. But how can you teach them? Only by love. But try to understand that he is Krishna's and he's in your care. So you do your best for him. Give him Krishna prasada. Give him good advices. He's got his own freedom, his own, ideas. Every parent wants to make their child into the perfect boy, the perfect girl. Not many. Ask the parents. Or look at us as children. We were all children. So it is your duty, but to do it in Krishna consciousness. And don't feel guilty. Oh, I'm reading, I should be detached from the world. But don't feel guilty that you are attached to those things you should be attached to, which means your duty with affection to your son, to your husband, to your family members, but in Krishna consciousness. And this is where we have, every situation is different, but we have devotees who go to their family gatherings, even though the family gatherings may be largely non-devotional. Largely people are not religious of any kind when it's like Christmas time in the West. It's a traditional time. In India, it's Diwali, right? Everyone comes to Diwali. They forget entirely what is Diwali meaning, and they just party and do everything. But devotees go, and as Kalikaramba was saying, they're giving association to their families. And there are so many cases where the family members, they've been suspicious or anti at the beginning. But then over the years, they've come to really appreciate, okay, what my daughter did, what my son did by joining into this Krishna conscious channel was very good. And they are looking to them with much appreciation. We have so many case histories like this. So keep your heart, don't be hard-hearted, but add Krishna. But add Krishna in the sense that your son is Krishna's. He was somewhere 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Where was he? He was Krishna's. He was in somebody's care. Now he's come to you, and your responsibility as a parent is to do your best to bring up your family in a Krishna conscious way, and not just to follow the expectations of a material society.
Thank you.
Okay, with heart.
Just before, because now we're almost at the end, but there's a quick question.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Quick question.
It's just a quick question but before we finish, I wanted to read through the homework questions just because there've been a couple of devotees asking, what is the homework? So from Hari Gopal, you mentioned that we should give foundation before sharing a book. What kind of foundation are you talking about before we give a book about Trinity from our masters?
Some faith. We want to give some faith to the person that the book is going to. And this came from Srila Guru Maharaj quite a lot, because in the early days of our lives, we were basically encouraged to try to give somebody a book, no matter what, give them a book. But Guru Maharaj wanted that, yes, we'll give a book, but to someone who's got some faith, some regard, that what they're getting in their hand, it is a valuable book. This is something which can really take away all the troubles in your life. And it is written by the most wise persons, and it's got all the foundation from thousands of years ago history, which people choose to ignore today because it's inconvenient for the material advancement. I mean, everyone's different. Somehow you need to try to give a little faith. And interestingly, the whole world looks more or less to the East for anything spiritual. Any yoga, any meditation, all of these things, they don't look to America or to, anywhere. I mean, I'm not pointing out America, but they don't look to the West. Everyone looks to the East. And what is in the East, there is written treasure of the message of those who lived in a much more perfect time. Just before Kali Yuga. Just before Kali Yuga, then the Vedas were recorded by Veda Vyas with Ganesh Ganapati as a scribe, and they were written for our benefit. So we owe it to them to look and see what is there. So anyway, somehow we want to give some faith to the person that this book is worth reading. And at least not just to throw it into the garbage. We're not trying to get a donation and then find it down in the rubbish tip down the road. If you don't think you can read it, maybe somebody in your family will find it interesting. It is a completely reasonable, clear and honest view of life, its purpose, and how to achieve that. But everyone is different and there's no one fixed answer, but not just to give a book without it being appreciated at all. You have another question, don't you? No, okay. Looking eager. I thought you were. It's good. Paying attention is good, because really we want to communicate, and so two sides. We hope, we try our best. But student, and we are all students also, definitely all students, and students of ABC. Not think, oh, there's so many years they're devotees, so now no need to look at all of this. We always have to keep refreshing ourselves that we are doing what is being said. Anyway, this is verse 2. So we'll be on to verse 3, but we've been asked that Kelly is going to introduce each of the programs and end each one. So let's see how she's going to do it. Hare Krishna.
Well, Maharaj doesn't actually need that, but there we go. We're trying to present from our side as nicely as we can. So there are notes Maharaj has been referring to, and these are all available in the chat. So you should all have received an email that had a link to Bhakti Yoga Institute Upadeśāmṛta course chat. And there we're posting the student notes and if there's any important information about the class as we go along. So if you haven't joined that chat, please send an email and we can send you the link so that you have that. But for now, we'll just quickly run through the questions so that everyone understands what they are. What are the 6 faults that destroy bhakti? What is yukta vairagya? What does prajalpo mean? Describe the positive and negative aspects of the term laulyañ.
Oh, but they haven't heard the positive aspects yet.
Well,
This is homework.
this is the homework.
Okay.
This is the
good.
homework.
Then
So
we can ask you tomorrow.
exactly. So you need to read some of them you'll already know, and then some you need to go through and read the student notes and try and reflect and absorb and maybe make notes from those notes to try to help it absorb. And then the last one, what is the general rule in relation to fasting on days like Upadeśāmṛta, and explain why?
So it is homework because we
It
have
is homework.
And
And
it can be found in the notes. Like
can be found in the
verse.
Oh, okay.
Need to be read and then.
so that's
Can,
how we're
can
going.
somebody on the other side send me the notes, please? They didn't give me the notes. Okay, good. I'm pleased you got some notes to like research through, because these are things that we haven't covered, actually verbally here. But it all is intertwined. Lots of things are intertwined, by the way, here. We're getting everything in 11 verses. So lots of things are here. Yes, Kelly. Oh, I interrupted. Sorry. But I got the notes now.
So
I'm
yes.
up to speed with you.
So please do read them. And again, our super senior Didi from Ireland, she's very, very humble. And so not many people know, but she's actually a PhD student. So these notes have not been just compiled whimsically. She's really taken a lot of care to extract out. And it's difficult because with Guru Maharaj's writings, you always want to include every single word because it's all so perfect and wonderful. So it's a difficult job, and she has extracted that to try to help us. So yeah, please do go through them. And if you have questions, if you're too shy to ask them, you can write them in the chat or you can email us. Just whichever way is easy for you to feel that you can participate, because it does help our whole group experience. So that's it. Thank you all for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you all here tomorrow. Thanks again to Srila Bhakti Madhusudan Maharaj, Saraswati Devi Dasi as our incredible leader here at the Bhakti Yoga Institute. Behind the camera.
And we are in a more official kind of setup, because one thing is to be like a teacher and classroom, which is the Bhakti Yoga Institute. Now I'm giving more attention on the screen, and I'm seeing all of you directly on the screen. And I'm very happy to see our big family here. And so super to see you, many of you with the cameras on, and those of you without the camera on. I can still see you through your names. So we're very happy. We can see each of you. And Subhasini Devidasi, she's turned her camera on as well.
Yay.
Very good. Okay, so yes, so from me, I tried to do it quicker so that we didn't overrun, but I think we're going to have to accept it'll be an hour and a bit each time, because really we do want to, as I said, be an instigator that you can really take some interest and learn the points and also put them into our lives. But these are the rules of the road. Now we're going to, from tomorrow, start driving along the road in the positive direction.
Jai Misapplication Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai Misapplication Bhakti Rafa Shudadev Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Upadesamrta ki Jai. Shri Goswami ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Vrinda ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki
Hare
Jai. And a big thank you to our translators ki Jai.
Jai.
Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
And so many smiling faces on the screen. And here everyone's smiling, here everyone is smiling. Very beautiful. Oh, now you can see Saraswati. How do you manage to do that? And Sanjita. There we are. All right. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. See you all tomorrow. Have a good day.